Emily Gregory went from owning a fitness center for pregnant and postpartum women to defeating a Trump-backed Republican for state representative. The special election surprise victory is raising eyebrows not only because she's a Democrat who won in a conservative district, but because she represents Mar-A-Lago, and her most famous resident is, of course, President Donald Trump. Joining us now is Florida State Representative Emily Gregory. Emily, I understand that you're also a first-time politician. You've not run for anything before. What made you want to get involved, and why did you think you could win?
Yes, so this has all been a whirlwind. I filed last summer, just not happy with the representation we were getting out of Tallahassee. I felt that for years they have not been focused on the issues my friends and my neighbors and I are talking about that we need solutions to, and they're focused on distractions. And I thought, hey, if those dummies can figure it out, why not?
It's morning TV, but we can allow dummies. Yes, go ahead.
Let me ask you about sort of what you did focus on. You mentioned some of those issues that you and your friends were talking about, indeed cared about. Christina bringing up perhaps your most famous resident and constituent. How much did you, over the course of the campaign, talk about him, focus on him, address national policies vis-a-vis him? How large did Donald Trump loom in the campaign that you waged?
I would say he did not loom large, not because it's not important, but because it's outside the scope of the State House. And one thing our campaign is very strong on is staying disciplined on the issues. So, right, I went into the campaign with an idea of what issues were affecting me most. And I really, really listened in all the conversations we had, knocking on doors and at campaign events, to what are the biggest issues at the state level that are affecting District 87 voters. And we heard housing and healthcare and public education, so that we were laser focused on those issues.
It's very tempting, especially those of us who cover politics, to extrapolate from one race and try to make it a trend and try to broaden it out. But I do wonder, as you look at other Democrats who are struggling to make gains or break through, do you think focusing more on those kitchen table issues and less on the president would be more effective for the party if they're trying to gain more seats, especially in the midterms?
I can say it was the successful formula for me, and it just makes sense, right? Things that are abstract and don't impact your day-to-day life are just not going to have as much of an impact on your decision making. And we don't have the final numbers, but it looks like a large number of independents and a really significant number of Republicans also voted for me, as well as, large support across political parties. And I'm very proud of that, because that was my theory of the case going into this, was that most people I talk to, regardless of their political stripe, we're talking about the same things. We were talking about property insurance. We were talking about, the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. We were talking about our public schools being gutted. So those really, it's not a partisan slant. And I don't think railing against something is as successful as, defining what you're for.
We pull back lastly, and I think we could focus on the patio at Mar-A-Lago and the wealth that exists in some parts of the district that you represent, but maybe you could kind of introduce viewers and listeners who don't know it to a wider audience. What is your district like, and sort of what are the principal challenges that you see it facing here in the year ahead?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So it runs down the coast. There's a population at the center at the top. So Jupiter is where I live, Palm Beach Gardens, North Palm, Juneau. So it's kind of like a circle up there, and then skinny, skinny, skinny all the way down the coast to Manalapan and Hypoluxo, which is actually a very large distance-wise for a state house district, with some carve-outs to include downtown West Palm and downtown Lake Worth Beach. So downtown West Palm Beach, big number one concern is this rapid growth, and how you balance that with smart growth. And in Lake Worth, they have some real water quality challenges and infrastructure that really need to be addressed through the legislature. And it would have been really important for them to have a District 87 representative in this legislative session that just wrapped up. So that is the importance of representation, is these local issues that need, you need a representative to go fight for your needs at the local level.